Hey guys, Veebat here with another V-Plays, taking a look at the Focke-Wulf 190D. Now the thing with the Focke-Wulf 190D is that if you've gone down the German ground attacker line up through the ME-265 and fully upgraded it, you actually have all of the guns that you need on this aircraft unlocked, primarily being the two 30mm Mark 108 cannons mounted on the wings. The other two cannons, which are mounted in the wing roots here, are actually considered synchronized because they're going through the prop wash, and then you also have two 13mm machine guns on top of the engine. Now this means that you're going to have kind of odd ranges on all of your guns, so they're not going to be traveling with the same shell velocities. They'll kind of have that weird overlap of which guns are hitting at different ranges and different leads, because right now it says I'm in range, but really it's just the 108s. So the 108s can hit pretty effectively, but I'm going to have trouble getting the 20s and the 13s to hit unless I get into a direct stern or direct head-on engagement, which is nice because if you're going after more heavily armored aircraft, you can really put on some heat on the enemy and take out ground attackers fairly effectively, or lower flying bomber aircraft. This is a multi-role, so you have the option of carrying 250 kilogram bomb, or 500 pounds essentially, and then you have these two pretty hefty rockets which almost do about a 500 pounders worth of damage in a single volley. The aircraft can get up to pretty high speeds being a multi-role, and its engine performance allows it to be able to hang up at these higher altitudes well enough to be able to perform at least. But I wouldn't call it a high-speed aircraft or a very strong engine. It's just good enough to be able to do these types of maneuvers. And since you do have this damage output, you can go into these types of fights with heavies and get them when they're out of position, because really this heavy aircraft shouldn't be down here. This isn't where heavy aircraft fight. You're supposed to be an altitude fighter, so he's going to get punished for that maneuver. I believe my 109 compatriot here has that guy, so I'm going to let him have that kill. I do see a player in a P-47 over here, so we're going to put some attention on him. There we go. Whoop. Let's go ahead and throw our rockets onto this site. .30s, since they do have good reach, are able to go out there and get that aircraft. If we can kill another plane, let's go for a lighter aircraft. We can finish flipping the zone. Flaps on, boost on, get that nose around, cannons on target, got him, and now we got the zone. I don't even think I was the one that got him, and I don't really care. Great fight. Good to be able to flip a zone like that. Let's help our ally out here in the B-17. Put some damage out on that heavy and get him knocked out. Looks like this P-47 is fixated on this target in front of him, which is good that he's moving in a straight line. It makes it easier for me to line up my shots and take out that target fairly effectively. I see you, F-7F. I know you want to use those rockets and those bombs, and I get it. But I can't let you come through here, causing my base problems. Got the Lambert medal for 400 capture points without dying. This is not a dogfighter, but when it's operating with a lot of other targets in the area, I can kind of catch enemies that are fixated on other targets. Target switching is going to be very important for when you're trying to defend a zone like this. There we go. Let's come over here and do what this aircraft was built to do, which was flip zones. Target fixated like we talked about before, taking advantage of his unaware. Come on. Got it. Here's that player that was on us earlier, making the same mistake again, heading on an aircraft that has 30mm cannons. Got my engine, but I'm totally okay with that. Like I said, multi-rolls, great at flipping zones. That rule will almost always be true. If we can get back to the middle, we can get ourselves some repairs, which would be nice, as long as we haven't been attacked or are attacking anybody in the last few, I think it's like 10 seconds or something like that, but I also need to make sure they don't destroy my repair site as well. This is what we were talking about before with going after a ground attacker with these overlapping fire. The amount of damage we just caused to this IL-2, granted it's only an IL-2, but we were able to eliminate him quite effectively in a single pass. Now we've engaged a target, so we probably won't get the repair immediately, so let's go ahead and get some distance here. Controlling an airfield is usually not my primary objective, but considering that there wasn't any offensive sites here, it made a lot of sense, and it allowed our ground attackers and our fighters to keep spawning in this area, so that way we could kind of let the bots do a lion's share of the work here. That was a bot steal. I only stole it from a bot. Doesn't count. And we're pretty much at the end of the match anyways. Whew. There's the F7, but it's over. Good battle. That was pretty decent actually. Glad that that was going to be my ×2 for today. Let's go ahead and get to the hangar and we'll talk about the modules like I discussed before, the upgrades as you go down the line, and what carries over from one portion of the German line to another. The nice thing about the Focke-Wulf grind is it appears that the Focke-Wulfs actually shared a lot of weapons and armament as you continued through, while I had a much more difficult time going through the German heavy line because I felt like I was starting from scratch and almost nothing carried over from airframe to airframe. So this was a nice change of pace. Yeah, we knocked out a whole bunch of tokens and a bunch of credits. That's good. We've actually been playing this aircraft for a while. As you can see, we're getting very close to specialist at this point, very close. But that's because we actually have two different lines to go down here. So let's take a look at the tech tree. We can go down the Focke-Wulf 252 line or the BV Project 215.02, which was the other line that you go down. So essentially the Batwings and then the Ta 152, because everybody loves the Ta 152. We have unlocked this and it is a stellar airframe. But like I said, we're going to talk about the Focke-Wulf 190D and see what guns carry over from where. So when you get this aircraft stock, the 13mm cannons are actually going to carry over from the BF-109 line and the Focke-Wulf 190A5 if you fully upgraded the airframes. So that's good. You're going to get the machine guns right off the bat. The 20s that are synchronized are also going to come automatically equipped on the airframe. These 20mm cannons are going to come from the ME-265, which is going to be the ground attacker we discussed. And you also can get the 30mm Mark 108s from the ME-265 as well. And since I've already done the German ground attacker line, these were already available to me, which is nice. When it comes to the engines, however, the only thing that's shared is going to be the second engine with the BF-109Z, which is the heavy dual fuselage airframe, the ME-209 or the Ta 152, which is after this aircraft, so you're not going to have that unlocked if you're just starting out with the Germans. But it doesn't take too much to get to these first set of engines, and the top engine is going to be unique to this airframe. The rockets, they're going to carry over from the A5 as well as the ME-410, and the bombs are going to carry over from the ME-410, the ME-265, the BF-110E or Bravo, and the BF-109Z. So if you even made it to, I think it's tier 4 in the German heavies, you're set to go. You've already got the bombs, but you don't necessarily even need them because bombs and rockets are going to add drag, so you can still be just as effective as kind of that intercept fighter that's kind of almost operating as a lower altitude heavy, and that's really what this aircraft is good for. Lots of damage output, pretty good speed, pretty good power, but it's really just going to be the overall versatility of a multi-role airframe. And once you kind of get used to the unique characteristics of how this aircraft likes to be flown, you have a pretty good time, and it's very much carries over from the A5 for the predecessor to this airframe, so it's not a bad grind at all. I actually like this aircraft so much that I invested in getting the premium version, which is going to be the A8. It's a lower power engine. It only carries one air-to-ground munition, but it has a very similar gun layout. I think it's nearly identical. 230s, 220s, and 213 millimeters. So it's all around a very solid platform, and I do very much enjoy it, and this is a lot of fun to fly, but I don't intend on keeping the 190D. In fact, I'm probably not even going to specialize it because I'm not going to keep it, because I have this airframe and I actually enjoy this one a lot more, mostly due to the paint job, and the bomb comes back in 60 seconds, so it's less to think about for the air-to-ground ordnance, but that's just me. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope this gives you a little bit of insight for the aircraft you're probably going to be spending a lot of time in if you want to unlock the Batwing line and the TA-152 line. Catch you guys in the next one.